I moved.
Sorry.
I moved. It's okay. So I moved here about 2 months ago. Um, and when I say here in particular, I mean it's like near Ocala area. So this area is more there's a lot of horses, there's a lot of cows and things like that. So I moved here from living in Daytona as well as Orlando previously. So I'm used to more suburban and city areas. In moving here, it was very different from what I'm used to. And as we talked about in the last call, depression is definitely a prevalent thing that I think is getting talked about more and more. But I think it's definitely something that we need to continue talking about. Just because I was doing a little bit of research on depression, mental health, and social media, and what I noticed is that the depression rates as well as social media addictions are kind of going up, and so it's definitely something that needs to be talked about more, just so that we can find ways of balancing this new world that we're in, because the reality is we are in a transition period where more people are getting on social media. I looked at an article that said it's over half of the American, oh, actually, over half of the world uses social media. So it's around like 56% of people globally that use social media. So I think it is important that we find holistic ways of balancing this new world that we're in, where so many people are on the internet more and more. You have people who work from home who stare at a screen all day and they're, sitting down. And, that can naturally lead to depressing thoughts and things like that. So finding ways of incorporating more holistic ways of this new world that we live in, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically what I've been doing some studies on. I think that with nature, I think nature, that's the main topic, right? The main topic is nature, but finding ways of incorporating nature into our day to day is so essential, because every at the end of the day, I really believe that everything is connected. You know what I mean? And when it comes to nature, like it really does something to you. Like it really calms you down. It helps you to be more in the present moment. With the assignment that we did for the stakeholders, I reached out to a few people and asked them a couple questions. And the common thing that I found was that people recognized the importance in putting the phone down and taking time to just sit with yourself. I think a lot of us in the day to day, the go to, when I was living in the city, I felt like I was always just moving, 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 doing something, always busy. But being here, I have found, um, I have found that like I'm moving slower. Like I feel the need to move more slowly to kind of catch up with myself. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, that's just overall what I've experienced, my personal experience in moving from, city suburban areas into this more I guess this is more urban area, slower living. I've noticed that my anxiety has gone down. Depression, I'm not really. I'm a lot more happier, I will say. Like I'm a lot more happier now than I was when I was living in the city. So, as well as the things when in reaching out to people, what they say, they've said some of the things as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there's other life factors that could be involved as well, in terms of like, depression going down, anxiety going down, and ultimately feeling better. But do you think you could confidently say that like your actual nat like environment around you contributes to this with like the betterment of yourself, you're saying?
Absolutely. Environment is so essential. And it's not just like your physical environment, it's also, the people you're around as well. But yeah, I think, yeah, like your environment, what you're surrounded by is so important to your mental health. Absolutely.
That's really nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And I could understand how you said you lived in the city most of your life, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I could see how needing a change and being more in the open could help your mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. I kind of did the opposite. Like I'm like from a smaller town and then I moved to
Hmm.
Orlando, which like was a
Hmm.
big city and like I definitely think it's brought me so much more anxiety. So like I graduated in May and like I'm planning to move back home. But like
Hmm.
I totally like agree that your environment like can play a big factor in it because just moving to like a city, which like it's only 2 hours away, but like it's still such a big difference and like it's just so fast paced where like I'm like stressed. I just know like, oh, well, I can just go to the beach and relax. Right here, it's like, well, now I have to work and do school and take time for like it's just so much. And like it definitely plays a big factor in it.
Yeah. So what I and I always say this because I feel like it's important to find a I enjoy the city. It's like I'm not trying to, I don't want to completely, disregard the city and the benefits of having city
Mhm.
living.
Oh no, Sasha, we
Mhm.
lost her.
Asha,
Wait, wait.
we can't hear you right now.
We can't hear you.
Okay, try now.
Sasha.
Can you know?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you know?
You're
Okay.
back.
Oh my goodness. What is this? What was that? That's
Oh
Oh,
no.
where they're like, can you hear me now? Good. But anyway, anyway, what was I saying? I was talking about balance, basically, not completely disregarding city life, but for balance because of all the things going on in our world right now. Like this is what I feel that. Can you guys hear me?
no.
It's pretty.
It's like a little choppy.
Uh, okay. Basically, what I'm trying to say is when I go on social media, a lot of what I things that are going on in the world. Can you hear me?
For now.
Oh God.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I want to hear what you have to say too. Like I'm like, wait, I'm. It's interesting.
Okay, I'm gonna. Can you hear me now?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Now?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do. Hold on, one second. I wanna say this like I feel so passionate about this, and I. Okay. All right. Is that better? I'm sure it's
Yes.
better.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
What I have observed on social media basically is that I observe a lot of negative news and negative media, and I feel that with so many people on the internet, it's just so important that there's some kind of balance, that we bring some kind of balance to that because as with the depression rates going up, and of course it may not all have to necessarily do with social media. I still think that social media does play a big role in it, and just finding practical ways of incorporating more balance into our this world that we're transitioning into, where everything is going to be digital. Most things are already digital, but we're in this, transition period. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think that's kind of like with the social media thing, that's kind of just an unfortunate consequence of my perception of how social media and, even like local news and just news in general works. Like, majority of things reported like is just, I guess, quote unquote, like bad news. Like if you're watching TV or scrolling through social media, you're not going to see a post or see a headline about hey, your local forest looks really nice today. No, you're gonna just see the Pope is very sick right now. Stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I did see that too.
But yeah, my point there kind of is like that's kind of an unfortunate effect of social media being like, it's primarily bad news being reported.
But I think sometimes it's good to know the bad things that are going on around the world. But at
That's
the same
true.
time, it is important to know, like when you're constantly on your phone, you're constantly seeing bad news. Like I
Right.
think it's important to turn on the news, maybe on your TV in the morning or at night. But
Hmm.
like seeing that all day cannot be good for us.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I was thinking that I feel like social media can be Pandora's box, basically. And finding just kind of analyzing things from a in a detached way almost. I think we attach our, it's easy to attach yourself to what you're seeing, but kind of finding some kind of way of detaching in a way emotionally. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. No,
That's
I,
just
I get what you're saying. Yeah. And it goes back to what we were talking about last time, how I know when I scroll for too long, I feel like numb
yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
And I get off my phone and I like go to the kitchen and I'm like walking and I feel like I'm like a zombie. It's really
Yeah.
how I feel. And then I'm trying to tell myself, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do three more videos. And then like 30 videos later, I'm like, okay, three more, three more. So
Yeah, and that's
oh,
and that's opposed to like when I go to the beach, I feel pretty much the opposite. I feel aware of every single one of my senses, and I feel just pretty much the opposite of numb and just super in touch with myself and everything around me.
hmm and like not on my phone.
Yeah.
So definitely, I would agree with that too. When I'm outside, I'm not as inclined to go on my phone or go on my TV or whatever it is. And also, like, I feel like when I spend a lot of time in my room or in my bed, I'm on my phone. So just being out, like, even
Mhm.
if I just go outside on my back porch and sit there, I feel 10 times better than sitting in my bed. Most of the time.
Hmm.
Yeah. I've been trying to do more things that like I would do in my room, just outside. So like I've been into reading a lot lately. So I'm like, okay, well, how about I go outside to read? Or like, okay, I like drawing, painting. I'll do that outside. And
hmm
like
Mhm.
my cousins, like we went and like walked like Lake Yola. We did like 2, 3 laps around it, and like just talking. And it's like, okay, you could have came over and talked, and like we could have been in my room talking, but like we did it outside, and it just felt so much better. Like before I knew it, like I wasn't even looking at my phone. I wasn't like acknowledging anything. And like my friend's like, well, did you see the TikToks I sent? I'm like, no, like I was actually just like having fun, just like walking around, looking at like the animals and stuff. And like but it's one of those things like I catch myself doing where I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Like I want to do it more often. And then
Yeah.
before I know it, it's been 2, 3 weeks and I haven't done it and I haven't been outside and I'm on my phone again. So it's definitely something that like I want to try to do at least once a week, but I don't know.
No, I agree with you for sure. And I think that our generation struggles with it really bad. And honestly, like my my mom is 64, about to be 65, and she will say that we struggle with it, our generation, but I hear my mom every night on Facebook Reels. So it's not just like
Yeah.
I cannot make
It
this
goes
up.
both ways. It really, I
Yeah.
think it can affect anybody at any age.
hmm
Like, because at the end of the day, it's dopamine. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like that dopamine that you get, and it just feels good. But I think about the younger generation. I think about the kids that are in school right now who, you know, have, are still under their parents, but eventually have to go out into the world. Like, I was just thinking today, man, like I have so many things. We all have so many things that we have to juggle. It's so easy to, like you say, doom scroll and kind of procrastinate on things that you have to get done.
It's an
So
escape.
imagine us at our age struggling with this. I can only imagine how the younger generation is going to struggle with it when they get to our age and have to do
Yeah.
things on.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
lot
for sure.
a
Go
lot
on.
of the research, oh, sorry. A lot of the research I did for the peer-reviewed articles were mainly like mental health and how nature can not be a cure, but how it helps prevent specific things and also is a coping mechanism. And a lot of the studies, it was mainly about children. Like that was their study group because I think it affects children the most. Like growing up, your brain is still developing specific things. So I thought that that was interesting, and it goes back to what you were saying about how the younger generation, what are they going to do?
Yeah. What
But
were
yeah,
you
I
saying,
like
Tim?
that. I like that a lot on focusing on the aspect of children in general, because as with for like the future betterment of any aspect of our world moving forward, I think that an important thing to do is start at the roots, and our roots and our future are the children that are going to grow up and be the next leaders and caregivers of the world. There's an article on PubMD that I was reading that, and it says that children with greater access to green spaces have a 55% lower risk of developing like various psychiatric disorders in adulthood, like anxiety, depression, and those of sort. And but yeah, that study, which was done in Denmark, is definitely a good indicator of like what we kind of should be focusing on moving forward to address, these problems.
I agree. I
Yeah.
think I read that article too, actually. And that's what a lot of the articles say is
Can you, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can
no, go
you
ahead.
send that to me, Tyler, or put it
Yeah,
in
sure. Hmm.
But yeah, that I was pretty much the same thing that I noticed from a lot of these articles. And it says like this one, in addition with studies as well as natural and controlled experiments, nature experience has been shown to positively affect various aspects of cognitive function, memory and attention, impulse inhibition, and children's school performance, as well as imagination and creativity. And I think imagining
Wow.
creativity is so important.
It is. That's literally like so many things, like even our laptops and our phones, like were created out of imagination, basically. That's where it started. So we need it to progress. We need it to evolve. Like it's so important. Do you guys know that SpongeBob episode? He was like, imagination.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. I always think about that every time I hear that word. But yeah, it's very important. Very
It
important.
is. It is so important. And I feel like I don't, me personally, I don't feel creative and I don't feel like I'm imagining anything when I'm on my phone. I feel like, I don't know if it's just growing up, but I feel like as a kid, I used to watch the rain drop down on the windows in the back seat, like just so many different things. Like I was always daydreaming. And I feel like
Hmm.
I don't ever daydream anymore.
Going back to SpongeBob though, it made me think that, Squidward's always grumpy and stuff. And I'm
Mm.
thinking there's not a lot of scenes of Squidward really enjoying the outdoors, he's just working the front or inside his house. But SpongeBob and Patrick, like they've always got the stupid, fun, enjoying look on their faces because, they're outside catching jellyfish. And well, yeah, that might be stupid, but I think that might
I
have to do with Squidward's unhappiness.
No, that is a really good observation. Like I never really thought about it that way.
he had his little bike though.
He had his little bike, you're right. And whenever he was on the bike,
And
he didn't seem too grumpy.
That's
That's
true.
true.
Every grumpy Squidward scene was him indoors.
that's
You're right.
true.
because it was always SpongeBob knocking on his door.
Back to real life though. Another cool stat that I that I saw and wanted to bring up is you mentioned like, your city life earlier and how work and office spaces work in general. And another cool stat I saw was the average American spends approximately 93% of their life indoors, 87% being inside buildings, and 6% being in automobiles. So that leaves just 7% outdoors, which could definitely contribute to the overall vibe or of people's mindset. And now I just made myself think of 2 summers ago, I went to Costa Rica. And so the country itself, it's not like it lacks the, infrastructure and super nice buildings that, we can see here in downtown Orlando and stuff. And it's pretty not well off in terms of financially and, back infrastructure again. But from what I saw going around that country and, going on tours to waterfalls and stuff, everyone was super happy. And what stuck with me from that trip is everyone goes around saying pura vida in Spanish, which is basically just pure life. And these people spend, the majority of their lives outdoors, and all they say to each other is just pura vida, life is pure.
Mm.
I love that.
That was a nice takeaway and made me remember of, the whole outdoors thing. They don't have a lot of the things that here in America that we value and we like, people here can often be like, "Oh, I'm so happy I just got this new car. I'm so happy I went to this nice club in Miami." Over there in Costa Rica, they're just happy to be together and be outside.
That is so beautiful.
That is
Yeah.
Amazing.
But yeah,
My
wow.
Yeah.
7% outdoors is too so sorry. Go on.
No, no, you're good. You're good. You can continue.
No, that's all. I just wanted to end off and say like seven, like for Americans, like the fact that 7% of an average American's life is spent outdoors, just that doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
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 I was
Agreed.
gonna say my roommate, she also went to Costa Rica like 2 summers ago. It was like for like it was like through UCF, like for like abroad or whatever. And when she came back, she like said the same exact thing. She's like, Gabby, like no one goes on their phones there. Like it literally like I did like zip lining, we did hiking, our house like the people that she was staying with, she's like they like make our food for us. Like we would eat outside like as a family. Like it just was so like everyone was just so connected and everyone was so sweet and like all the neighbors and stuff like would go outside and like and she's like it's just like was she was like I was never on my phone. Like it was just not even something I even thought about while I was there. Like I was too busy like hiking and doing all these things. Like it was so exciting.
Yeah, for
Wow.
sure.
So interesting. I wonder how we can bridge that gap though, like in America, like it's so funny. I'm such a problem solver. Like the way my mind works is so funny. But I guess because not everyone has that access to go to Costa Rica, you know what I mean? Not everyone has the access, the ability to travel.
Some
So,
people don't even have the access to go outside their doors and see a tree in the
yeah. So I
Yeah,
wonder.
one of our biggest cities in our country is nicknamed the Concrete Jungle.
Oh, New York, yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
But there's so the crazy thing about it is those areas have so many opportunities, or it seems like, yeah, it seems like those areas typically have the most opportunities. Um, I guess because so many people move there. I don't know, but yeah.
It's a different lifestyle here in the US for sure
Yeah.
than some other countries. So maybe it's why
Yeah.
people are so depressed. And our food.
The food, oh my goodness, don't get me started on
That's a whole
food.
different
I
thing. That's
honestly,
a whole different thing.
yeah, yeah, don't get me started on the food, but yeah, like I think that there's so much in America. We do have a lot of privileges. We do have a lot of things that are going well for us, but I just think that we got to slow down now because with inflation, there's a lot going on, but I feel like especially with inflation, I think it's that we're spending a lot of money and we got to slow down. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I'm sure there's other factors too. Like I'm sure, but I think that we just got to slow down. And what you were saying, Tyler, about you know what you observed and how everyone is just more so living life and enjoying life. Like how do we get back to that? How do we in America get back to slowing down and enjoying life?
I don't know if we can. I mean, it's so I feel like it goes so much deeper because this country is so big,
Yeah.
so many different things, and it's just a different lifestyle there. And obviously, there's good and bad everywhere. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I think it just boils down to being an individual and changing your life for yourself. Because we have that opportunity here to do a lot of things that not a lot of people have. And
That's true.
yeah, I don't know.
I'm thinking something like some kind of program, like some kind of nonprofit where people who are in certain situations that aren't able to have access to that otherwise would have access to it somehow.
Yeah,
That's what I'm some kind of nonprofit organization where we can like bridge that gap for people somehow.
hmm,
Yeah.
kind of like how they have like senior centers and stuff like that. And they,
But for nature but for like
yeah,
people.
yeah,
I think you can almost go the other way around as well. Like I do agree with it, but it might be like easier to and more I don't know, cost friendly and more just accessible to instead of having a program where say, I don't know, you fund a field trip to Costa Rica, it's a little bit more broad and maybe a little bit more less clear cut to do, but bringing the green spaces to you um is kind of what I'm thinking here along the lines of like, kind of just planting more trees in cities, more plants. But I think that might be more attainable per se.
everybody
Um,
pause real quick. This is supposed to be episode 3 topic.
what do you mean?
Like I'm sorry, I don't
Oh, mental health.
or the like the plan that we have.
Oh, okay.
No, no, you're good. You're good. I like the brainstorming, but I'm like, I don't know what we'll do for episode 3 if we do this now.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so that's a good place to end then, I guess.
No, yeah, like I'm
Yeah.
not. I didn't mean to be like that, but I'm like, wait, hold up, because I don't know what else we'll do. Because
Yeah, that's a good place to end. We can kind of have that as the placeholder for the next.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, no, I agree because I love the ideas that you guys were saying, and I was eating it up. But I'm like, wait, pause. We do this next week, and then we keep going and brainstorming off that.
yeah, that's good. I like that. I'm glad you caught that.
Yeah, I
I'm
was.
glad
No,
you
you're good.
caught that.
Because I'm literally sitting here. I'm like, if we do this now, what are we going to talk about next week?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's our placeholder then. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, we have the problem, so to
Yes.
speak, and next week we'll talk about the solutions that
Yes,
will.
I like that. Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Natalie, for setting this up every time.
Oh, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate y'all.
Of course.
All right, guys.